Do the Niners need a quick start to win this game?
I think they absolutely do. The 49ers,
You're
much
saying that he
like,
shouldn't give up a fake punt for a touchdown and right off the bat?
I think you're trying not to,
Yeah.
sometimes unavoidable, as Richard Hightower might tell you, but yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah.
The 49ers, as we just said earlier, are not a good enough team to win when they lose the turnover battle. I think the same thing is true here, that they are not really set up to come back, especially on a team like Cincinnati, where if they get rolling and they get confident and that wide receiver trio starts to feast on a very vulnerable secondary, I mean, this game could skew in one direction if that happens. And so the 49ers have to do everything they can in order to minimize that fast start. I think that it does favor the 49ers in a couple of ways, in that Cincinnati has had their struggles with slow starts in games. So if that turns out, that would be fantastic news for the 49ers. If Cincy gets out to a slow start, then, the Niners can meander a bit before finding their sea legs as well. And then there's the later start than usual, right? I mean, they flex this game to be a 1:30 game on the West Coast, right? So
Yeah.
it avoids that usual early start. But I don't know, how you feeling after that travel? You feeling a little bit tired, a little bit off your body clock?
I'm a little tired. I mean, I went to Seattle last week too. This is the second road game in a row, and Seattle wasn't that far, but it's kind of tiring. I mean, it's not going to be a body clock thing. It's just to be like, it's an accumulation of miles thing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious I mean, the Niners came out flat last week. They flew. It's about 2 hours, about an hour and a half to Seattle. They came out flat and really had one of their flattest, most sloppiest, maybe the sloppiest, most unprepared performance of the season. I mean, 10 penalties plus the 3 turnovers and the safety. The safety usually shows like that's embarrassing. If
Very
you lost
embarrassing.
and there was a safety, like, that doesn't happen every week. Anyway, if they play like that again, they're going to get blown out this week. So I'd like to see, can you put that behind you and show that was just a one-off, or was that little run kind of short-lived and all about Debo? And are you going to revert back to this kind of rudderless, directionless, disappointment of a freaking team that's way more talented than its record?
Way more talented.
Way more talented than its record.
It's crazy.
This team is really underperforming big time.
That game against Seattle really opened up in a strange way. I mean, that injury to Trenton Cannon on the first play, it sucked the life out of the stadium. I think you're probably in a press box, right? I was down in the heart of the stands.
You're thinking like, is he paralyzed? Oh my God.
Even Seahawks fans were definitely quiet in that moment, and they were saying, "Oh, well, the cart's coming over. Oh, the cart's going away. That's good news. Oh no, the ambulance is coming onto the field. It's even more severe than needing a cart."
It's scary.
Recovering from that is a very tricky thing in such a violent sport such as football. But the defense did respond. And those first 3 snaps, it looked like the 49ers had come out with life. That punt return for the touchdown just electrified the fan base. Mm-hmm. It enraged all of the Seahawks to give them life. It brought them to a place of confidence that perhaps was slipping. I mean, just the fans around me were giving up after the 3 and out. They were like, well, just another week, just another performance.
Yup, they've seen that all the time.
Yeah. But no, we gave them life. And so it will be about avoiding those mistakes against Cincinnati. You can't come out and commit a big defensive pass interference to start the game. You can't come out and allow a deep touchdown shot. You need to be in this game from start to finish with the complementary football style that the 49ers play so well.
Yeah, and remember, Cincinnati is a lot better than Seattle, okay? You're not talking about a team that's going to quit if the Niners go up 14-0 early. They could. The Niners could go up, but this is a huge game for Cincinnati. I know the Niner fans aren't focused on the AFC races and stuff, but Cincinnati is 1 game out of first place in their division. They're 1 game behind the Ravens, who they've beaten already this season, I believe, and are going to play soon. Yes. So this is a huge freaking game, because I kind of feel like if you look at the AFC, it's so competitive. They may have a better chance to make the playoffs winning the division than as a wild card team. The wild card is really tough. So they
are currently sitting in that 7th seed, and therefore they are fighting for their playoff lives just like the 49ers. It does feel in talking to their fan base that they are very much the same as 49er fans. Hey, we've got an inconsistent team at this point, a team that when they put it all together, it's pretty to watch, that the offense, when it's clicking, is lights out. The games that they lose are typically because they've shot themselves in the foot. It's the games that Joe Burrow has committed 2 interceptions or more. Their record is atrocious in those games. So it's a mirror image of one another. Basically 500 teams, both teams sitting in the 7th seed, both feeling like every week is a playoff game at this point, both fighting for those playoff lives, and both inconsistent.
But here's the thing, though. The Niners, even though they have this, they're in the same spot, I think the Niners are in a much better spot because they're in the NFC.
Yes, it breaks out much cleaner for the Niners' path to the playoffs.
Yeah, like I'm looking at footballoutsiders.com. They have their playoff odds. And right now, they have the Niners at, hold on. Let me wait for it.
Hold the phones, people.
81.6%.
Ooh-wee.
81.6. And again, they can lose this game. This is not a must-win game for the Niners. They can lose this game, win their 2 home games. All they got to do is win 3 of the next 5. 3 of the next 5. And this one doesn't have to be it. The Bengals, on the other hand, they're currently – Football Outsiders has them at, wait for it, 38.7%. So they're in a tough spot. They pretty much got to shoot the moon and win their division, most likely. They just had an embarrassing loss last week. They're a talented young team that hasn't been good that long. So we'll see. They're way better than Seattle, but Seattle's the opposite. Like, Seattle's a team that with a quarterback who knows how to win, but the rest of the team really, 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 really sucks.
Right.
This is the opposite of that. It's a really talented team that's not quite consistent yet, but
yeah, emotionally, you have to hope that the 49ers took that one on the chin last week against Seattle, felt embarrassed by the fact that they just got beat by a worse team, by their big brother, and carry that embarrassment into this game and unleash it onto the Cincinnati Bengals.
Because the Bengals it's going to be the best of the Bengals. They just got embarrassed last week. They need to win. They need this game more than the Niners.
Yes, their schedule is very tough. You pointed to the Ravens game. That's going to be a very exciting matchup for them.
Will Craig says, with how outspoken Steve Young has been this year, makes me wish he either gets approached for quarterback coach, maybe in GM next season. That would be awesome, in my opinion. Look. Steve Young probably makes – do you understand how much money he makes at ESPN just to talk about football?
Just talking.
Do you understand what quarterback coaches get paid to work 7 days a week, probably 11, 12 hours a day more? Not that much.
Chump change.
It's a hard job. And the people that are those position coaches, I really, really respect because they're regular, hardworking people. It's not very glamorous. You think, oh my God, you're a position coach in the NFL? Yeah. You work from 7 to 9 every day, and you're in a different spot every 2 years. It's really hard. Really hard. So I don't think Steve, I mean, if I were Steve's agent, I'd be like, dude, don't do that. Just do the best job right now.
Yeah, I don't get the sense listening to Steve Young that he's aching for that type of a work schedule. He seems to be pretty content with the amount of film he's watching for ESPN, with the cushy job that he's got at this point, with the money he's bringing in. He seems pretty contented to me.
Like, look at Pat McAfee. You think he would want to go be a special teams coach right now? Or do you think he wants to do what he wants to do?
Yeah, man just signed a $30 million a year deal with whatever DraftKings or whomever that was.
Like for example, for a couple years ago, I literally would have really would have wanted to be a real quality control coach for a team. Those guys make probably 50, 60,000 a year. Now I'm like, you know what? I'll just pretend to be one on YouTube. Thank you. This is more lucrative. Pretending to be quality control pays better than actually being quality control.
And I'm guessing it's a lot more fun as well.
Way more fun.